Now we're going to put together some of the stuff that we've did over the last 2 class periods and put it into a calculation. All right, basic shell here in front of you. I'm going to use some strings in this. So I want to add the header file string. Shouldn't be too hard to remember. All right, the calculation that I'm going to do is a pretty simple one you've done before, is just averaging your test. This is a quarter, and you've taken 3 tests so far, and your grade's based totally off of your test. So I'm going to average the 3 of them together. So num test equals 3. This is the proper way to make a variable. Variables always start out with a lowercase, but if you put 2 words or 3 words or 4 words, you're gonna put together several words sometimes because you try to be descriptive. Num test, the second word is always put with a capital, right? So num test equals 3. Now I'm going to declare a few floats. Test 1 equals 97. Float test, and I spelled float wrong. Test 2 equals 85. Float test 3 equals, you made a 95 on it. All right, we're going to do the calculation up here. I'm going to declare another float, and it's just going to be test average. Notice how I did that again. First letter of the variable, I made a lowercase. Then the second word, I made uppercase. I'm going to add all 3 tests together. Test 1 plus test 2 plus test 3 divided by num test. All right, let's talk about what went on this line here. All right, I declared a float test average. Then I added up test 1 plus test 2 plus test 3, then divided by num test. We are dealing with, you have to remember PEMDAS on this, okay? Order of operations. I want to do it. This is going to follow PEMDAS to the letter. It's going to add test 1, test 2, and test 3 because that's in parentheses. Then the lower precedence is the division. So it's going to add all 3 of these together, then divide by num test. And then it's going to put that number, that float number, into test average. So let's print this out and see what it looks like. Cout my test average for, fancy here, num test I'm going to add some more literals. My test average for num test, it's going to print out the numeral 3 is I want to say test here. Test is, think through your parentheses or your quotation marks and think about the spaces that you want. Chances are you're going to run it and have to go back and fix it, but try to think it through the first time. And I'm going to put an indel. I like to put indels in here to give a little bit of space between that. And you noticed when you output this stuff, it's got that garbage at the end. So I like to put an indel or two just to kind of separate my output from that operating system stuff. All right. So hopefully this will print out correctly. My test average for 3 test is, then it's going to print out test average, which I hope has a decimal, should have a decimal because I have made it a float. All right, good. We got what we wanted. My test average for 3 tests is 92.33. All right, guys, give this one a chance. Type this in, play with it a little bit. The big takeaway from this is I want you to notice the difference between int and floats. Maybe type this in wrong, type this in as ints. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do that real quick. I'll make this an int, this an int, and this an int. And we'll make this one an int also. Our average for the first time was 92.333, I think. So let's see what we get with this. Yep. You can see there, I didn't use floats, so my average is 92. So you know that the average is going to be more than that. So give this one a try. I should have one more video before we're through today.